It's pretty windy out there now.
Right.
I'm thinking 100 questions.
Everybody ready to go?
We're playing inside.
Good point.
Okay, all right. It was great to be back on the practice field today. We went about 12 periods with our older guys, just trying to get them back acclimated and just some base fundamentals. I thought it was good. Our guys were very excited. The second part of the practice, it was going to focus more on the young guys, just developing guys, whether the red-shirted guys, whether the freshmen, just trying to work with those. I thought it was good. Our guys were extremely excited to be on the practice field. They're very excited to be playing the Sugar Bowl against a very good Oklahoma team. You look at Oklahoma, and the thing that stands out to me is they're very talented. One of the best offenses in college football. Quarterback is a phenomenal player. He's good in the pocket. He's probably even better when things break down. He can extend plays. He makes good decisions. The receivers, of course, the Westbrook kid is probably one of the better players in college football, but they've got some other weapons. Both their running backs are legit running backs, and they got a solid offensive line. Defensively, they do a very solid job. They know their system very well. What they do very well. Today, everyone practiced, but Devereaux Lawrence. Devereaux had surgery earlier in the week, and he will be out. Devereaux, being a senior, that was a very tough blow. Outstanding young man. He did a very good job for us this year. So that's really feel bad for him. Marcus Davis was back out there along with everybody else. Everybody practiced full speed. It was good to have everybody out there, and so we expect all the rest of the guys to be ready for the bowl and be 100%. Also signed 2 junior college players today, which is very exciting. Sal Canella, a tight end, about 6'5", about 225, 230, a basketball guy in high school. I think he only played football for 1 year. He's got great ball skills, just did a very good job. He's kind of a half receiver, half tight end. I think he's got great potential, and so we're excited to have him in the mix. Jarrett Stidham, obviously the quarterback, is a guy that we're familiar with. We started recruiting him way back when. We felt like he was the top quarterback in the country when he came out, and then he chose to go to another school. So for us to have a guy like him, we think he's an outstanding player, outstanding person. We got great leadership, so he'll be a great addition to our team. He will be here the 19th or the 20th, and he wants to start practice early, which I think is a good thing to get around his teammates and all that. So very excited to have those 2 young men added on. They'll be here in the spring, which I think is good. So we're very excited with that. Questions?
Gus, what's the latest with Sean? How's he doing with the shoulder?
Yeah, Sean, he practiced the whole time. Looked to me like he was 100%. He's ready to go, and he did everything that the other quarterbacks did and didn't miss a beat. So that's encouraging.
I guess how will you in the spring deal with the quarterbacks? Will it be a wide open competition?
Yeah, we're going to let him compete. And see who wins the job.
Gus, how about Kamryn Pettway? How do you look?
Yeah, Cam was good. He went through practice. Like I said, he did everything. So all of our guys that were out there, they did everything, the 12 periods that we did, without any kind of limitations. So I thought that was good.
Having Sean and Pettway and Carry-On
Yeah.
healthier now, how important is that just for the psyche of the team?
I think it's very important. We were playing very good football when we were healthy, and we were really in a rhythm and running the ball, throwing the ball well. So it's good to have everybody back and Carry On being 100%, and he looked very good or close to that today, and there wasn't no hitch or limp and all that. And so, we're going to continue to practice. We're going to be smart with those guys, but I think there's a good chance that all the guys out there are going to be close to 100%. And
How about Byron Coward? Is he eligible?
yeah, he's good to go, and he's back out there today too. So that was encouraging.
Are Sean and Cameron the type of injuries where you want to see how they are the next day before you kind of really know for sure what the status is? Or is that
No, I don't think so. I think at this point, I think I expect both to be ready to go tomorrow the same way. I mean, I'll let you know if anything changes, but I feel very good about where they're at.
How about secondary guys, Halsey and Rudy and
Yeah.
Colton Davis been a little banged up?
Yeah.
All those guys.
Yeah, I think the last 2 weeks have been really good for those guys, and they were all out there and participating, and so that's good. It was good to have everybody back out there. So.
Stanton full speed too?
What's that?
Stanton.
Yeah, Stanton was full speed too. So I thought that was good. He brings a different element to us, and so it was good.
What can you tell us about Weston and Briss situation? I was talking with at least one school.
Well, he's a talented coach. He did a super job. He's our defensive back coach, right now, and I hope we hold on to him. He did a super job.
Are you going to offer him a new contract or a raise?
I'm not going to get any details, about that, other than he did a super job for us, and he's a very good coach. He's one of the best in the business.
What's your plan for Malik Miller? You think he'll play in the bowl game? Or you going to go ahead and hold him out?
No, we'll hold him out. We'll hold him out, and try to get his year back, medical, and he's got a chance to be a special player too. We feel like, and he was playing very good football before he got hurt, but no, he won't participate in the bowl.
What will you try to do with Stidham in those 2 or 3 practices he's able to do? Will you allow him to be scout team quarterback maybe?
We hadn't got that far yet. I just know he wants to be out there with his teammates and get out there and do individual and stuff like that. We'll get a plan as it gets closer, but I was pretty encouraged that he wanted to get out there in the middle of it and participate. So I think that's a really good sign. And as it gets closer, we'll figure out exactly what to do.
He can't practice in New Orleans though, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Is it fair to suggest that your relationship with the former Baylor staff had something to do with his comfort level with you?
It definitely could have. He's from Stephenville, Texas, and like I said, we recruited him coming out, but we kind of knew that it was going to be real tough for him to get out of the state of Texas at the time, and the fact that I've known Art for a long time too. I'm sure it didn't hurt the matter, but we're glad to have him. He's got 3 years left. I think that's good too, and he'll come in and compete for the job.
What do you really like about him? What's he present that you've been looking for, and also just moving forward, how do you expect him to handle that competition where he was expected to be a starter?
Yeah, well, he knows the status of hey, come in here and compete. His skill set is he's a very talented young man. He can make all the throws. He can run. He can extend plays. Very accurate. He's got really good leadership, and he's a mature young man.
Gus, when you talk about your plan for the guys that do like redshirted or guys who hardly played at all through the fall.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we did. We took the second half of practice just to really focus on those guys. Let the guys play a little bit. Tomorrow we'll even do a little more individual with them and just try to develop those guys as best we can, have our position coaches work with them, which is always good, and that's good about the bowls. For the bowl practice, you can kind of transition. You're not in a hurry. You're not in a rush. And you can really slow down and teach. And that extra time before you get to spring is very critical. And so we'll continue to do that, throughout the bowl practice time here when we're on campus.
Is it a big deal to have that extra time for a bowl? Because it's been really since August since you've seen him. Otherwise, it'd be March before you.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And it's really good. Like I said, when you can slow down, you can focus on the little things. I think is very important. For all those guys that redshirted specifically.
Have you spoken with John about the future now with another quarterback coming in, just whether he's going to change positions or stay at quarterback?
No. I think John will stay at quarterback and he'll compete for the job. John's done some good things. And the fact that this is his first year in our offense. He looked better today than he looked during the season. So it's just a matter of him getting more reps, getting more comfortable. But no, we've not talked about anything, like that.
How much does this alleviate depth concerns, especially considering what's happened the last 2 years where you're scrambling to kind of get someone ready to go when injuries popped up at the end of the year?
I think depth at that position obviously is very important. And I think with Jarrett coming in, I think that, really helps in that area. And that it'll be good.
How big was it that Pettway went ahead and announced that he was coming back to school, kind of take that way?
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think, anytime a key piece of your offense right there makes that call, and, he'll have a chance next year, and obviously staying healthy, there's a chance he could have a super season, and he'll be one of our leaders too coming back. And so, I think it's a very good thing, for us next year.
What have you seen specifically from Jarrett as far as vertical passing goes? Because at least what he he did at Baylor last season. He did a lot of deep throws, and that was something that's been lacking from this offense the
Yeah.
last 2 years. So just what does he bring to the table from a vertical standpoint?
Well, I think you just said it. I mean, he throws a very good deep ball. I mean, just his trajectory, his arm strength, his accuracy. You know, he does a good job buying himself time. I mean, you know, he's got everything it takes to be a very good quarterback, and the deep ball is definitely a part of his arsenal.
What do you like about him as a runner, like on design plays? He came from the system and ran a lot of zone, a lot of
Yeah.
options.
Yeah, you know, he's a dual threat guy. I mean, he can throw the ball, he can run when he has to, he can extend plays, and I think that's a big thing in our league, because a lot of times things are going to break down, and you know, a guy that can extend plays and make good decisions, you know, I think that's a real positive.
Gus, you've thrown at 26 or had 26 catches since you got here. It's 2013 to the tight end. Does Sal kind of open up that middle third of the defense for you?
Yeah, you know, I think so. I mean, that was really what we were really wanting. We were wanting a long body that had receiver skills, you know, that could present some different things. And I think Sal really gives us that look. The fact that he was a receiver in high school and only played for 1 year, a basketball guy. You know, this past year in junior college, they did a lot of stuff in the red zone. I mean, the one-on-one 50-50 balls he's really, really good at. And, you know, I think he's going to have a chance to get bigger, too, once Coach Russell gets with him. So he's a guy that can run, and so I think it'll really open up some things for our offense. So we're really excited about him.
Gus, in your two best years as coordinator, head coach,
Yeah.
2010 and 2013, you had a big threat at tight end.
Yeah.
How big was that in those years, and is that kind of what leads you to, is that what you're trying to get back to?
Yeah, there's no doubt. You know, tight end is one of those areas that, you know, we needed more depth this year, and needed some speed there too. So, you know, we feel like that Sal has a chance to really help us immediately. And I think that was attractive to him, the fact that, you know, we needed some help at that position. And he's seen what we've done in the past. And you're exactly right. You know, when we were at our best, we had a threat at tight end that really, you know, could do some things. And Jalen Harris is a guy that is getting better. I mean, he really did some good things blocking, and I think that he'll be a guy that'll continue to improve too.
Is there such a thing in your offense as a tight end that just does tight end stuff, or is it someone who double trains at H2?
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, when you got the versatility to do both, that's when it really helps you, and kind of goes back to that, being able to put 11 guys on the field and try to run as close to every formation as you'd like, and within that, to have the hand down and play some H back.
Gus, what would you like to do in terms of, do you start introducing a little bit of Oklahoma now with the older guys?
Yeah.
Ease into the game plan?
Yeah, what we're going to do the next today and the next 2 days is going to really focus on us more than anything, and the development of our young guys. And once we get to Saturday, we'll go full force on Oklahoma and start trying to get in a routine of a regular Tuesday type practice, and then we'll go Wednesday, Thursday, and just really start getting our routine. But right now we're just really working on us, working on the fundamentals, getting back in the flow of things, just our base offense and our base defense. And, you know, come Saturday we'll start, you know, getting after Oklahoma as far as the prep goes.
How often do you talk to Art Browse?
You know, from time to time, just a couple times a year usually.
Do you know Kendall?
A little bit. A little bit.
Yes, Jake Boulware's on the staff now. What do you remember about your time working with him when you guys were here together?
Say it again.
I said that Jake Boulware's on Oklahoma staff now. What do you remember about the time when you guys were working here?
Yeah, you know, Jay's a good coach. Jay's one of those detailed guys. Did a super job for us. Obviously, was here when we won the national championship in 2010. And, you know, our special teams were very solid that year, and you know, he coached our tight ends, H-backs, which they were very solid too. So he's a good coach. He's a very detailed guy.
Have you spoken to any of the other players, juniors, considering the draft, whether that's Carl or Braden, Daniel, about what they're playing?
You know, Carl's a guy that, you know, he'll, you know, decide what he's going to do after. He'll make an announcement. He went through senior day, and, you know, Carl's probably going to be a first-round pick. You know, the other guys, a lot of times you will kind of send in your paperwork as far as seeing where you would go and all that. But at this time, you know, I'm not ready to say anything regarding anything else other than Carl will, you know, he'll tell you after the season like he said, but he went through senior day.
Gus, I want to ask you about a couple of young guys.
Take a few more.
Prince Sammons, is he healthy? Is he practicing? Where's he working?
He did practice today. I think that was good. He's one of those guys that, you know, this bowl practice will be very good for him. You know, he battled the injury when he came in with the foot injury, and so it was good for him to be out there in pads. And
which position was he?
he's playing tackle. So, I mean, we're just training him right now just to play tackle and have the ability to do both. But he's still in the early stages. But I really feel like these next 8 practices will really help him and give him a foundation, you know, before we get to spring. He's a very talented young man. He's a big, strong guy. You know, we're very excited about him.
When you
How
see the
about
news,
Stephen Davis? Sorry. How about Stephen Davis Jr.? Where's he playing?
He's not out there with us right now.
Okay. Injury?
He's just not out there with us.
when you see the news coming out of Wake Forest about plays being leaked to other teams and things like that, does that give you extra concern? I see the look on your face right now.
What are we talking about?
Have you not heard about that?
Well,
Someone who worked for Wake Forest was leaking out information about their offense and defense to opponents
Okay.
in the ACC. He
Okay.
was fired for it. How much as a coach do you worry about certain things getting out like that?
You know, of course, I worry about stuff. You know, I mean, I worry about stuff. I'm probably one of those guys that, I worry about stuff. And usually, you know, we don't have a whole lot of access because of that. But no, I didn't know anything about that. But.
How much of these earlier bowl practices are oriented towards get a head start for next season, especially the young guys?
Well, I think that's what we're doing. You know, you get your guys ready for the bowl, and then early on, the just as important is developing those young guys for the future. So that's a great thing about having 8 practices before you get to the bowl site, and so it's kind of a half and half. Both of them are just as important as the other. So it's great for us as coaches, you know, for the development before we get to spring practice. All right, thank you all.